Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and we finally have our first look at TMNT Mutants in Manhattan by Platinum Games. And as you all know, I am a die-hard Ninja Turtle fan since I was a wee lad, so let's just dive into this in-depth analysis and pick out anything we can speculate about, or things that you may have missed. Let's do this. Right off the bat, we see tucked away up at the top, on top of the wires, some form of a collectible. I'm not quite sure what exactly this is, but it's interesting that it's on top of the wire while the explosive barrels are on the bottom. Now, this is worth mentioning only because of the fact that in leaked screenshots, we ended up seeing gameplay on the ground, but these are collectibles that are on the roofs, making me wonder if this is a much more open game than previous TMNT games. Next, we get our first look at the Foot Ninja in TMNT Mutants in Manhattan. I really like the design they went for. It's kind of a mesh of the brand new movie ones in TMNT 2, but also kind of traditional since they have the red eyes. I'd also like to point out that the collectible is still there in the background, so we're roughly in the same scene right now. And this seems to be kind of a surprise attack happening as they all sprung from underground and appeared out of the windows and stuff. So I do wonder if this is an open world game, if they have the element of surprise all the time, or if this is just a set level and theme. Now we're seeing a foot soldier up close with a two-handed blade, and it seems to be a different type of enemy based off his outfit and his weapon choice, which is always relieving to see in these action games that they're already enforcing different enemies. But what I want to focus on is in the background, a bit of speculation here that I wonder if this is a bit of a fast travel system. I see 3 of the same icons for these trains, and I wonder if they take you different places. Considering this game is also going to be on 360 and PS3, it makes me wonder, since they're going to have to compensate somehow to load in areas, if this is a way to go into the subway system and then fast travel to these locations. This seems to be our first look at Rocksteady. Now, I know it's kind of tough to tell because we're looking at him from behind, but when you look at the cover of the IDW comic series for the Ninja Turtles, which it seems to be based off in this game quite heavily, you'll see the similarities between both the Rocksteady on the comic cover as well as in-game. In this next shot, I want to focus less on the thing we see in the water and more on the fact that this seems to be very reminiscent of Turtles in Time. We've seen the city, we've seen the subway system, and now we're seeing a sewer surfing kind of level that's very reminiscent of the older games. I can imagine them being on hoverboards in this level here and having this enemy in the water being this type of threat. Next, we get our first look at Shredder, and there's not much to analyze here. All I'm going to say is thank you for not fucking him up. That is all. Here's another look at Shredder, but this one's obviously in better lighting and has a more full body shot to it. And I just want to say that once again, you can see more and more that it's modeling its characters after the IDW comic series rather than the movies, which I think a lot of TMNT fans are breathing a sigh of relief. I know some people enjoyed the movies, but I think a lot of people can agree that the direction of the character design was not that good. Following that up is some shots of the Foot Ninja absolutely flooding the streets, and I feel this shot depicts it best, as you can see tons of them running down this street. And I just wanted to go ahead and emphasize that this seems to be a true war between the Turtles and the Shredder, which doesn't seem to be that original of a story design, but hopefully there's more to it. But if I'm honest, man, this looks insane if they fit all these enemies on screen in some type of big battle. Now we're getting our first look at the Ninja Turtles, and they look badass. They have the right type of garb on, they don't look too overdone, they have the right color scheme. It's just right, in my opinion. And you'll see it heavily emphasized that there's 4 turtles always on screen. The reason for that is because of the recently confirmed online co-op mode. We're unsure if it's going to be a co-op campaign or a challenge mode or anything, but the fact that there's going to be online 4-player co-op for a Ninja Turtles game is the first of its kind, so I can naturally say I'm very excited for that. We're still unsure about local co-op, but this is exciting nonetheless. Yes! Yes! They get it! She's a redhead! Thank you. I understand that the TMNT Nickelodeon cartoon got it right, but she's not a brunette like in the movies. April O'Neil is a redhead. Thank you for not messing her up, Platinum Games. Seriously, I genuinely mean that. It annoys me when they screw up the easiest characters. As for Splinter, a little different looking, but it seems to mimic more of the Nickelodeon cartoon, but obviously, once again, going along the lines of the IDW comics. Now we're getting a very close-up look at the Ninja Turtles, and I know it's going to take a little adjusting because they have pupils. I know, it's very strange. I'm still getting used to it, even after all this time with the Nickelodeon cartoon being out and them having pupils and that. It's still very weird, especially since considering that the 2003 cartoon is my favorite. But to be honest, it doesn't look half bad. It doesn't look as bad as it could have been, in my opinion. Finally, some actual gameplay, and we see a sick team attack move here, which I'm going to break down step by step for you. So it starts off with Raphael beating the life out of a foot soldier, and then all of a sudden, him and Leonardo spring from a distance. Then they reconnect going shell to shell, and it creates this AoE type of attack that devastates anything around them, and it's actually absolutely amazing. And also, just for the record, in the background we can see a purple foot soldier just cooling it back there. Seems to be a little bug tucked away in the trailer because he's doing absolutely nothing, but once again, just another enemy type to toss in there. Just to support my theory from earlier in this video, I wonder to myself if they're hopping on the subway here to actually move from level to level, and that's what this part of the trailer is describing. It could just be a cutscene, it could be the end of the level or whatever, but just tossing it out there in case my theory is correct. These next set of screenshots seem to confirm that there is going to be some type of counter system in the game, considering when you pay attention to the foot soldier on the right, you'll see that in the first screenshot, he's lit up because he's about to attack, and then when he finishes his attack, he is no longer colored. So it is most likely like the Batman Arkham games where if you time your counter at the right time, you will stop their attack and you won't receive damage. The next set of screenshots seem to show off what type of fighter each turtle is, and they seem to follow the standard formula, where Donatello seems to be doing an AoE attack here and being more slow but doing damage to multiple enemies. Leonardo seems to be the more focused average fighter who can do everything, and then Michelangelo is doing the more quick successive strikes but doing little damage. Moments after we see the Ninja Turtles flying over the city, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if this is the way we can just traverse the entire city, I'm going to lose my mind. Now mind you, it's most likely just a simple level where you're in the sky and doing something different to bring some variety from the standard city, sewer, and subway level systems. But you know what, I think this is a cool idea regardless, and I'm all for it. Moments after, we see the Turtles go into town on someone with a brand new team attack, and this team attack is rather exciting to see because it's once again focusing on the Turtles working together, and if the online co-op is as good as we can imagine, us Turtle fans are likely very excited for this because pulling off team combos with your friends as our favorite heroes in a half shells is probably one of the best things I could ever think of. A lot of people are wondering who this villain is, as we saw him earlier in the trailer when I mentioned the sewer surfing level, and a lot of people have assumed that this is Street Shark, but this is actually Armagon from the Archie comics series, and he was created specifically for this comic series, so this is going to be something new for a lot of TMNT fans out there, including myself. Later on, we see an arrow shot at Leonardo, and there's only one character I can think of who would do this. Not only could it be possibly just a normal foot soldier, but it actually could be Karai trying to get his attention, because I do remember often her doing this to him. But also, it's worth throwing out there that the facial animations in this game, the lip syncing, the voice acting, is actually not bad. I'm very impressed with the quality of it so far. And then the trailer wraps up showing what is likely some of the bigger boss battles throughout the game, being Bebop, Rocksteady, and the Shredder, obviously. And then it concludes by saying it's coming this summer, likely launching right before the movie comes out to capitalize on the hype. But overall thoughts, I don't think it looks too rushed. I am not surprised to see the basic city levels, the subway levels, but based off what I've seen with the combat, it looks flashy and interesting enough. Hopefully it has some more depth. I hope that the levels don't become monotonous beat-em-ups. I don't think they can go any lower than Red Fly's game, Out of the Shadows, so I think we're in for at least some type of treat. If Platinum Games doesn't tell us a good story, we can at least bank on the fact that we'll have an enjoyable action game from the Ninja Turtles. I know people are going to complain about the graphics regardless because people don't know the difference between cel-shaded and PS2 graphics nowadays, and it's just disappointing. But overall, I like what I see. I'm excited. I want to see more. I can't wait to hear more details and hopefully get at least like a couple minutes of just raw gameplay to get a feel of how the game is actually going to play. Hopefully they don't spoil too much over time because it's saying that it's going to be an original story by the IDW comic book writers, so that's really exciting. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments down below, so hit me with them, people. Let me know. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. The links are in the description. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.